Welcome to PVTV English edition. In this program, the state of play in Myanmar. We are going to deliver current affairs review by PVTV. So that our friends around the world who are craving for democracy and human rights get a better understanding of the actual footage of the situations in Myanmar. So please tune in to our program.
How far have we got after 1 year of Spring Revolution? It's been a year now since the beginning of the Spring Revolution that will eradicate military dictatorship. In the history of Myanmar, there was a tradition that the military always win by means of coup. That tradition has come to an end now. Unlike before, this time Myanmar people have made so many sacrifices to revolt against the dictator at all cost. And it's becoming clearer that the military dictators who thought they would win are losing ground till 1 year after the coup. Military dictators who have used intimidation with weapons over the years and their minion army would have thought that everything will be calmed down sometime after usurping power from the legitimate government. But the people, youths and those who stand up for what is right, have been able to push the military dictators into trouble by doing things that should be done one step at a time. Little representatives elected by the people were trapped in the Naypyidaw Development Committee's guest house after the military usurped power on February 1st. On February 3rd, the representatives issued a statement to show their standpoint against the coup.
Committee representing CRPH
Then, on February 5th, Luton was convened in the guest house because access to Luton halls were restricted by armored vehicles and military vehicles. From that emergency meeting of the Phithaungsu Luton, the committee representing Phithaungsu Luton CRPH was formed with a majority of young and middle-aged members of Luton, and they were able to make a move in the political game that is important for the Spring Revolution. At present, the political environment initiated by CRPH has led to the formation of the National Unity Consultative Council NUCC and the National Unity Government NUG and ensured their place in steering the Spring Revolution.
အခုလက်ရှိအမျိုးသားညီညွတ်ရေးအစိုးရကိုတောင်းတောင်းချပြအားပေးကြဖို့လိုပါတယ်။ကမ္ဘာကြီးနဲ့ချိတ်ဆက်ပြီးတော့ဆက်ပြီးတော့အလုပ်လုပ်ကြပါ
On the one hand, pro-democracy groups have been able to gain political legitimacy by using the de jure power which was granted by the votes of more than 75% of the people in the November 8, 2020 elections. On the other hand, the anti-coup, people who want respect towards their opinion and the youths of Generation Z went on protest and showed the world the de facto power, the true power of the people. The protest and strike started on February 6, 2021 by young doctors led by Dr. Teza San, continued day to day by Wemo Nai and Ethan Zaman, and now many more youth leaders have emerged. In some places, protests have intensified with the protection of PDF's People's Defense Force. The strikes now are not just about shouting slogans on the streets like in the past, but also banned imports at night, silent strike, flower strike, and so much more. Every single one of these strikes shocked the military dictator for sure. Besides these strikes led by youths, the civil disobedience movement, CDM, started by health workers and joined by civil servants across the country, has been so strong that for a whole year, the military junta has been unable to function properly on any government mechanism. All these movements were the main pillars of the Spring Revolution and were able to express the unity of Myanmar people to the point that the world respected them. It was in Naypyidaw that the bloodshed of the peaceful protester has started. Manya Tuek Kai, who was hiding behind a bus stop during the violent breakdown on protest on February 9th, was shot dead, and the images of this incident made an unforgettable record of the Spring Revolution. Since then, the terrorist military got the nerve to kill anyone, and in the days that followed, the military violently suppressed protest and made the people's blood spill on the streets. But the shouting of the people on the streets became louder and louder. One of the momentous moments of the Spring Revolution was the raising of 3 fingers by the permanent ambassador of Myanmar to the United Nations, Wu Jongmoto, at the UN General Assembly meeting. The symbol of 3-finger salute of Myanmar people who are rebelling against the military dictatorship has reached to the UN General Assembly meeting on 26 February, and the issue of Myanmar has gained a certain spot on the world political stage. As the Spring Revolution gained momentum and strength, so did the brutal massacre of civilians by the military junta. On March 1, 2021, the National Unity Government, the National Unity Consultative Council, was formed as another important step in the revolution. Then on April 16, the National Unity Government was formed. At first, NUG has been compared to the NCGUB, which emerged after the popular 8888 uprising. And some have suggested that NUG may not work. But now, with the support of all Myanmar people and with the coordination of CRPH and NUCC, it can be said that NUG has been able to lead the revolution well. Necessary ministries have been set up and the government mechanism can function well. There are representative offices of NUG in some countries, and it can be said as a success in international recognition. At the same time, the military junta has been so desperate that it has been shamelessly asking for its representation even in a court like ICJ. Hun Sen, the current chair of ASEAN, who is the last straw held on by the junta, seems he is going to abandon Min Aung Hlaing and the junta. On March 31, 2021, the committee representing Phyaungsu Lutto announced the abolishment of the 2008 constitution, which was drafted to perpetuate the military dictatorship, and all the people celebrated burning down the 2008 constitution. NUG Ministry of Defense then formed the People's Defense Force PDF on May 5, 2021 to protect the people from the brutal unlawful killings by the terrorist military and to put the extreme pressure on them. The People's Armed Force, the core of the Federal Army, is working together and cooperating closely to build a federal state with all the brotherhood, ethnic revolution organizations, and the local defense forces.
ဒီထောင်စုမြန်မာနိုင်ငံတဝမ်းရှိ
Since September 7th, when the acting president Dualashila declared People's Resistance War, People's Soldiers of Brotherhood, EROs, LDFs, and PDF who will truly protect the people has been relentlessly fighting against the junta. During June-December 2021, there were 1,675 clashes between People's Forces and terrorist junta's troops, and 6,917 members of the terrorist military were killed, and 2,377 were injured in the clashes. More than 2,000 soldiers and 6,000 police members have quit the terrorist military and joined People's Embrace as they hated the brutality and evilness of the military dictators. There are also a lot of people who cannot quit for various reasons, but they are secretly reporting us valuable information from the inside. NUT Ministry of Defense has formed the C3C Central Command and Coordination Committee, with the joint leadership of experienced ethnic revolutionary forces, and military preparations are underway. At present, in some areas, including Sagaing, Mandalay, and Chin states, People forces have gained control of the area as the fruits of such preparations. There are even hospitals and schools established by the National Unity Government. Later this year, NUT will focus on and expand the functions of a legitimate government, such as establishing local governance and liberated areas, prosecution of terrorist military leaders and their fellow criminals, and delivering the people freedom and peace. The NUCC convened People's Congress from January 27 to 29, 2022, aimed to establish a future federal democratic state and is drafting the Federal Democracy Charter that will set the basis of the country's future political journey. The Spring Revolution is the people's revolution that will completely eradicate the military dictatorship. It can be said that all the achievement gained was only because the people fought with unified strength. 88 Generation Students Group leader and prominent democracy activist Guomin Guonan said, "We have struggled for months. We wouldn't be here if we did not struggle and fight. It is just that. So what can we see here is that the people who fought are right. I want to say that the more we fight, the more we will surely achieve greater outcomes." For the people who have struggled day by day for the entire year to say prayers for the heroes who lost their lives during the revolution and to bring the freedom for the people who were arbitrarily detained in the prisons, all the Myanmar people have determined to exert the best effort so we can harvest the sweet fruit of the success of revolution that has ripened already.
PVTV ကမြို့တော်လိုင်းရေးဆိုင်ရာအစီအစဉ်ကောင်းတွေကိုရည်စည်တင်ဆက်ပေးနေရှိပါတယ်။ PVTV ကထုတ်လွှင့်တင်ဆက်ပေးနေတဲ့အစီအစဉ်တွေကို PVTV ရဲ့တရားဝင် YouTube Channel ဖြစ်တဲ့ youtube.com/c/PVTV မြန်မာကို Subscribe လုပ်ကြည့်ရှုပေးကြရဖြင့်တော်လိုင်းကိုတစ်ဆက်တအားဖုန်းမှုပြည်ပေးနိုင်ပြီဖြစ်ကြောင်းသတင်းအောင်ပါလိုက်ပါရရှင်။စိတ်ရက်ကလစ်တွေနဲ့တော်လိုင်းရေးကိုနိုင်တဲ့ဘက်ကထိတ်ဆက်အားဖြစ်လိုက်ကြအောင်ပါ။အရေးတော်ပုံအောင်ရမည်။